The Raiders are 5-2 in first place in the AFC West, and if the playoffs were to start today, we'd be the 2 seed. If that can't get you to like the video, then I don't know what I got to do. But at the end of the day, Rich Bisaccia has had this team ready to go, and I am super proud of the Silver and Black going into their Week 8 bye. So seriously, hit that like button. Coming up here on today's show, I have 4 overreactions around some of the biggest stories after the Raiders' 33-22 win up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Then we're going to get into the 5 biggest winners and the 5 biggest losers. But I wouldn't be able to do today's show if it wasn't for our awesome sponsor, Autumn Abyss. If you love the shirt I have on right now, head on over to autumnabyss.com. And if you want to go ahead and save maybe 20%, all you have to do when you get to that webpage is click Enter the Abyss. So the first story coming up here on today's show is the Raiders. Are they playoff bound? So when the Raiders went 3-0, I said, hey man, this one's going to be 3 chalky heads. Now I'm going to go ahead and give this one 3 not chalky heads. I'm going to say it's pretty likely that the Raiders do end up making the playoffs. So the fact that we're 5-2, first in the AFC West, and currently the number 2 seed in the AFC, that gives me all very inspiring motivations that, hey, it's not going to be like it was in 2019. It's not going to be like it was in 2020. This seems like a different football team. Now, I said that the last 2 seasons, but I will give Rich Bisaccia a lot of credit and Gus Bradley credit. Realistically, the Raiders' defense is one of the biggest reasons why I'm confident that they will end up making the playoffs. But you think about all the drama that's going on, and the fact that this team is 5-2 and they've lost some key players, and hopefully, fingers crossed, you're able to get Richie Incognito back, who is expected to come back Week 9. Been dealing with a calf injury since literally August 19th. Him, and then also probably your top linebacker coming into the season, Nicholas Moreau. Denzel Perryman and Corey Littleton have been tackling machines, but both of those dudes have really struggled in coverage. Hopefully Nicholas Moreau, I can't forget about Javen White either. Hopefully those guys come back Week 9. That just makes us a little bit better of a football team. Now, what I want you guys to do is, I want you guys to take a screenshot of this right now, and I want you to put it on Twitter, I want you to put it on Instagram, because this is what the AFC playoff picture would look like if the playoffs started today. And then we're going to go through here and run through the Raiders, last 10 games? I mean, you're sitting at 5-2. You got Week 9 up against the Giants. They're a 2-5 football team. I know it's the Chiefs, but they have not looked good for basically the entire year. They're 3-4. Week 11 against the Bengals, I mean, that could be a really big game. And Week 12 against the Cowboys. Week 13 up against Washington. Week 14 up against the Chiefs. Browns, Broncos, Colts, and then the Chargers. That Week 18 game could literally decide who ends up winning the AFC West, who could potentially get the 3, 2, 4, maybe even the number 1 seed. Now, I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video, so every single person that comes across this on YouTube, you're going to get hit with a YouTube ad break. So what does that mean? It means that this is going to be the very, very first comment on the video, and I want everyone to go ahead and try to predict the Raiders' final record. So while that ad's playing, scroll on down and let me know. Let's go to the second story here. Is Kenyan Drake better than Josh Jacobs? Now, I've been seeing a lot of people rip on Jacobs, which I'll be the first to say I don't really think is that fair. Am I excited about what Kenyan has done the last 2 weeks? Yes, absolutely. But I'm going to give this one 0, no Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that. Drake, though, in back-to-back weeks has definitely outperformed Jacobs. But I really think it really comes down to him just not being healthy. Josh is who I'm talking about. He left Week 2 up against Philadelphia after scoring a nice little touchdown. And if you tell me, is Drake the better player as it stands right now? Maybe since Jacobs is hurt, I can get on board with that. But 100% Josh Jacobs is a better running back than 100% Kenyan Drake. But let's look at the Week 7 numbers up against the Eagles. Carries, advantage Kenyan, but before Jacobs went down, it was the Josh Jacobs show. Rushing yards, a nice amount there from Drake. Both players had 3 catches. I was actually impressed by the way that the Raiders used Josh in the passing game, and both players ended up having a rushing touchdown. But what about this season? Because this is a story that I talked about last week on the Raiders Report, and Bleacher Report was kind of ripping on Josh, and I had to defend my guy, who does have 60 carries, 204 yards, but he's averaging only 3.4 yards per carry. He does have 5 rushing touchdowns. The offensive run blocking line still has been really, really struggling, but Jacobs also is not healthy, which, if you haven't seen him, you clearly can tell he's just not healthy right now. What about Kenyan Drake? 42 carries, 160 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. He also has 18 receptions for 187 receiving yards. He's been a very good back for this team. Still don't know if he's been worth the money, but I have been impressed from what I've seen out of Drake, and I've been impressed about his ability to be able to really change the game, especially in the receiving game. So what do you guys think here? Who's the better running back? For those of you that are new to the Raiders Report, we do news, we do rumors, but we're also an interactive channel, and sometimes we get a little litty on Sunday, so I want to apologize for my late game heroics or whatever the hell you want to call them at Redtail yesterday. I was a little bit faded, a little bit sauced up, but that's because of y'all. So let me know who's the better running back, type 23 for Kenyan Drake or type 28 for Josh Jacobs. Now, if you guys are looking for free videos literally every single day around the Las Vegas Raiders, all I want you to do is hit that big red button that says subscribe. Plus, I want you guys to join my watch parties. We had over 92,000 people watch yesterday. Now, maybe you're going to be in Las Vegas for some upcoming games. I am going to be with the Black Hole, and I'm going to be at Redtail for every single Raiders home game. So week 10 against the Chiefs, week 11 up against the Bengals. Bengals, I will be there. I do want to give some shout-outs to some of the people that came through and saw me at Redtail. Shout out to Afrados, one of my dudes right there. Shout out to Calco. He came on the show and took a shot with me. And usually I'm the one drinking all the time, but we also bring people from the audience right up here. We take some shots. We try to have a good time because at the end of the day, we're family, and I don't want to be the only one up there just drinking. So come to Redtail. Come to a Black Hole event. I promise you, you guys are going to have a lot of fun. They're also going to be there week 9 against the Giants. I just won't be there. Let's go to the next story coming up here on the show. Is the Raiders' offensive line good now? I mean, they played a very good game up against Philadelphia, but I'm still going to give this one only one no Chucky head because even though they didn't allow a sack, there were 3 penalties against the offensive line, which is, it's an okay kind of affair, and the offensive line has stepped up the past 2 weeks. However, Philadelphia doesn't really have the best pass rush whatsoever. You have a good defensive lineman. His name is Hargrave and Cox. Really, besides those dudes, they don't really have too many guys that can really get after the quarterback. Now, you had 2 games, and they are building on that success. I am not going to call them a good offensive line, but they are playing better. They're not bottom 5. At least they haven't played that way the past 2 weeks. But the PFF grades up against Philadelphia. Colt Miller right now is playing like a top 5 tackle in the league. John Simpson was much better, especially in the running game. Especially in the running game. Still not too great in the passing game. Andre James, this is the biggest reason why the Raiders' interior offensive line and why the Raiders' offensive line in general has played better. Andre James took a major step forward up against Hargrave and up against Fletcher Cox this week. Alex Leatherwood at 56.1. He's still trying to learn the guard position, but he's clearly a much better run-blocking guard than a pass-blocking guard. He's still probably one of the worst pass-blocking linemen in the league right now. And then Brandon Parker. He didn't give up a sack. He had a penalty, but he's still probably at best an average tackle, maybe a little bit below tackle in the league. So what do you guys think here? Let's go back to school. I want you to grade the Raiders' offensive line up against the Eagles. A, B, C, D, or F. F is terrible. D is bad. C is average. B is good. A is great. As much as I rip on this line, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give this offensive line an A- grade. Now, was it an A+, the best game they've had all season for their standards? Yes, but I'm talking about normal NFL standards here. I'm going to give them an A- grade. They didn't give up any sacks. They let Derek Carr cook the entire way. So let's go now to the last story here. My overreactions. Was Jon Gruden holding back this Raiders team? Oh, man, how many Chucky heads am I going to give this one? I'm going to give this one 2 no Chucky heads, and people are definitely starting to talk about it. I mean, the Raiders are 2-0 without Gruden. I thought they played a pretty damn good game up against Denver. Realistically, that game was never close. Totally blew out the Broncos. And now you totally went ahead and you blew out the Philadelphia Eagles. Do I think both those teams are very good? No, Denver's 3-4. Philadelphia's 2-5. But you do have to give them some credit here where they have looked really good on offense. And I like Greg Olson's offense. And I actually think Derek Carr has looked spectacular the past 2 weeks. I mean, think about it. Against the Broncos, 18-27, 341 yards, 2 touchdowns. This past week, 31-34 for 328 and 2 touchdowns. Sure, he had a pick, but like Carr, the offense, the overall team mantra, they also look so much more relaxed on the sidelines. But hey, you guys let me know. Was Jon Gruden holding back the Raiders? I want you to type Y for yes if you're like absolutely. If you're like no, Mitch, that's not fair to put on them. I get it. It's all good. But hey, that's what this show's about. Y for yes and for no was Gruden holding back the Raiders. Now, if you love the shirt that I got it at automabiss.com. I wore my Tom Flores hoodie this weekend. I had a few people ask me about it. Also, what happens in Vegas started in the town, Raider Nation. I love Automabiss gear. It feels better than dry fit. Now, you guys can also go ahead and save 20% by clicking Enter the Abyss. All you have to do then, I believe, is enter your email. That way you stay up to date on everything going on. No, this is unfortunately not me. So I will be getting my tattoo soon, though, but only on one arm. Let's go to automabiss.com. Get all the high-quality Raiders gear that you're looking for. They're dropping new stuff all the time. Plus, if you want to go ahead and support awesome foundations like Marshawn Lynch's foundation, Tom Flores Foundation, portion of these proceeds do actually go to those foundations. Automabiss.com. It's going to be in the comments. It's going to be in the description as well, so go ahead, get yourself some awesome Raiders gear. Let's get into the biggest Raiders winners and losers after their 33-22 win up against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the way that I go ahead and do this, I rank it from 5 all the way down to 1. 1 is the biggest winner. 5 is the 5th biggest winner. We're first going to start, though, with the winners because, I don't know, start with the good and with the bad. Kenyan Drake, running back. I liked what I saw out of him. They used him in the passing game. 14 carries, 69 yards, a touchdown. Was able to fill in for an injured Josh Jacobs. And at the end of the day, that's what you're paying this guy to do, to be that complimentary back. And over the past 2 weeks, he's looked pretty darn good. Let's go to Yannick Ngakoue. This guy was flying all over the football field. Didn't really do too good in the run game, but you're not really paying him the money that you are to be a run stopper. I mean, he's good in the run game, but much better against the passing game. 2 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. He also had 2 PBUs and 2 quarterback hits. He's looking like a real great edge defender and a great signing. At number 3, I got to give some love to Andre James. This has probably been the dude that I've been ripping on more than almost anybody this entire year. He had a 77.0 PFF grade and took a major step forward in showing that, you know what, maybe he does have what it takes to be a center in the National Football League. At number 2, Moreau. He had 6 targets, 6 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown along a 21. I love it. Jeremy's whispering in my ear right now. Moreau, Australian for touchdown. If you don't get that joke, then I don't know what I got to do around here. But it was also National Tight End Day, filling in for Darren Waller, who obviously I want Darren Waller out there in the field, but Foster showed that he can hold it down. 6 grabs, 60 yards, and a touchdown. Or a Australian for a touchdown. I don't know. Let's go to number 1 here, Derek Carr. I mean, I get that he had 1 interception, but anytime you're going to go out there and throw the ball and out of over a 91% completion percentage, that's incredible. 31 of 34, 323 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. He just seems like he knows everything that's going on with this offense right now, and he couldn't miss. And I mean, he was just hitting throw after throw after throw. It was kind of like me when I was sinking all those shots at Red Tail, set the new high score at their basketball game. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go try to beat my high score at Red Tail. All right, y'all, so who was the Raiders' biggest winner up against the Philadelphia Eagles? You can throw Derek Carr's name down there. I also want to give a shout out to Colt Miller, who's been just an absolute monster on the left side. Please let me know the biggest winner. Now, with winners, it's time to go to the losers. At number 5, Amik Robertson, but Mitch, he didn't even play. Exactly. I really think that he has lost his spot. Brandon Faison stepped in nicely. Also, Desmond Trufant was able to step in pretty nicely from him. So from top to bottom, Amik, probably a loser. At number 4, it's Dallin Leavitt. Now, Leavitt didn't really play all too much. He had a few snaps. I believe he played in 23 snaps, but he was targeted 5 times. Gave up 3 catches, 27 yards off the top of my head. He's just not good enough to be out there on the defensive side of the football, and he's really a liability, and teams target him. Let's go to number 3 here. Nick Martin played in only 5 snaps, but he's a loser in this one because Andre James and John Simpson, they really stepped up. So, Nick Martin, sorry, homie. Let's go to number 2 here, Josh Jacobs, and it has nothing to do with the way he played. I was actually impressed by the way Jacobs played. The only reason why he's a loser on this list is because he keeps getting banged up and he keeps getting injured. Now, he did post on his Instagram that everything's going to be okay, but the amount of injuries that are just starting to pile up on this dude, I know he's getting frustrated, and I know Raider Nation's getting frustrated too. The injury is the only reason why he's been a loser, at least on today's show. And at number 1, Denzel Perryman. I know a lot of people always rip on me because sometimes I'm not afraid to point out when somebody's bad in coverage, and far too often, all we do is look at tackles, and you can't just look at tackles. This past week, Perryman was targeted 7 times, gave up 7 catches, 108 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Watch defenses up against Corey Littleton and Denzel Perryman. When it's 3rd down and they need to pick up a first, the play is always directed towards Littleton or Perryman. Why? Those guys can't cover. They can tackle, and they're tough dudes, but they need, and I mean need, to be better in coverage, or else you're going to have a lot of bad things going forward. So what do you guys think here? Who was the Raiders' biggest loser up against the Philadelphia Eagles? I really think the only 2 answers that you can go with are Corey Littleton or go with Denzel Perryman. But hey, let me know down in the comments section.